was a person that initially called you from WWE and say, hey, Chelsea, we're interested in bringing you in? Or were you the person who contacted them via email? Or how did that, contact happen?
I contacted them and asked them for another tryout because I felt that they weren't interested in me still, and I didn't know why. So I wanted to prove to them that they'd want me. So I called them and asked for a tryout.
I'll translate that. Ella fue la que pidió el tryout para llegar a WWE. No entiendo qué les pasa, por qué no les llamó la atención, qué es lo que está pasando. Quiero un tryout, voy a probarle, y así mismo lo hizo. And that's exactly what you did. You did a tryout, you had the experience, you got signed with the company, and then you are on NXT. And unfortunately, on your debut, you suffered a nasty wrist injury. What was the thing that went through your mind? Like, hey, I got my lifelong dream job and this happens.
I was very upset. I felt that I was so close, and then I had it all taken away from me. And I stayed upset for a little while,
I'll translate that. Ella dice que obviamente su debut se lastima en NXT. Es como que lo tenía todo y me lo arrebataron de las manos. Estaba molesta, estaba frustrada, pero eso es parte de las experiencias que tiene que vivir un talento. After being with NXT, which in my opinion, it happened for so much time, like you should have been contacted earlier to the main roster. Who finally granted you the opportunity? Like who finally told, hey, Chelsea, we're officially calling you up to Smackdown?
The first time I got called up was to Raw, and Paul Heyman called me up. The second time I got called up, which was my permanent call up, it was actually Triple H that pulled me aside and let me know before my last match at NXT that I was going to be going up to the main roster.
I'll translate that. Su primera llamada al main roster ocurre a través de Paul Heyman, quien la lleva a Raw, recordamos con Diana Purrazzo en aquel momento, luego baja a NXT y la llaman una segunda ocasión. Triple H la saca a un lado y le dice, bueno, muchacha, esta es tu última lucha en NXT. La semana que viene llegas a SmackDown y es como que cualquiera se emociona. You got to SmackDown. No one expected you there, but at the same time, we all did. Like, where was Chelsea Green? And finally, you debuted on SmackDown. And unfortunately, the same thing with the wrist happened, not once, but twice. As a human, like, let's take the performer side around, take it aside. As a human, as a person, what is this situation, getting injured in the biggest moment of your life made you feel, and how can you, overcome this frustrations?
Well, because I was sad the first time, the second time I was more angry. I was really angry, and I just didn't understand why I was so unlucky. In the long run, it was for the best. I took time off. I spent time at home with my family, things that I wouldn't normally get to do, but it doesn't feel that way in the moment. Now, looking back, I can be happy about it.
I'll translate that. Se lesiona en su segunda lucha, o sea, su segundo debut en SmackDown. La primera vez que eso ocurrió en NXT, y ella se sentía triste, ahora se sentía molesta, se sentía frustrada, pero del otro lado de las cosas, tuvo tiempo de compartir con su familia y de hacer cosas que no había tenido la oportunidad de hacer hace mucho. Así que, pues, de ese lado le sacó algo positivo, aunque en ese momento no se hubiese visto de tal forma. You had the opportunity to actually meet Vince McMahon. Not many people active in the roster can say that have made it. Like Molly Holly only did it for requesting her release, but you had the opportunity to sit down with him and pitch him some ideas. So having this, visionary, billionaire, larger than life personality in front of you, do you feel intimidated? How do you manage, going one-on-one with the boss?
I think the thought of having the conversation is very intimidating. But when you're in front of him, he did not make me feel intimidated. He made me feel comfortable. And, at the end of the day, I'm just a girl that's asking her boss to work. And that's what I had to remember. And I think that that's what I brought to the table when I spoke with them.
I'll translate that. Le pregunto sobre sus reuniones con Vince McMahon y dice, bueno, el hecho de tener esa reunión o de pensar en la reunión ya era intimidante, pero una vez tú estabas allí con Vince McMahon, no, él te hacía sentir muy bienvenida, te trataba bien, te daba la oportunidad de hablar, y Chelsea dice, bueno, este era el momento en que yo como mujer, una chica del roster pidiéndole, mira, permíteme trabajar, permíteme ser alguien para tu empresa. Y en ese sentido estuvo excelente. You pitched a bunch of ideas to Vince that you already discussed on previous interviews, but there's a particular one with Mickie James that caught our attention in terms of, you know, every time we saw both of you back and forth pitching the idea to work together on SmackDown. With, you know, was this a real thing or was this a planned storyline?
So when you saw it on social media, that was just Mickie and I hoping and wanting it to happen and really trying to push for it to happen for each other. That was not a storyline. We wanted it to be.
Awesome. I'll translate that. Le pregunto sobre Mickie James. Chelsea tiene la oportunidad de ponerle diferentes cosas a Vince, pero una de las cosas que hacen es que de momento están en Twitter y en las redes sociales y ves a Mickie, ves a Chelsea intercambiando mensajes. Esa era la intención de ellas, como que sí querían que eventualmente se convirtiera en una historia, pero ellas eran ellas dos realmente intentando llamar la atención de las personas y de los productores para que, mira, somos buenas, pónganos a trabajar, y de esa manera ocurre eso.